What is it you wanted me to reconcile myself to? I was born here almost 60 years ago. I'm not going to live another 60 years. You always told me it takes time. It's taken my father's time, my mother's time, my uncle's time, my brother's and my sister's time, my nieces and my nephew's time. How much time do you want for your progress?
Hello. I want more than anything to stay on track with my episode topic list, but life has yet again butted its way into the room, and I have to say something about it. I honestly do not want to be making an episode about racism or police brutality on an instructional design podcast, but here we are. The content and discussion in today's podcast will necessarily engage with racism and death, and this is your content warning. Welcome back to I'm New Here, a podcast for new instructional designers and e-learning developers. New episodes will be uploaded every Monday. If you have a question you want answered on the show, you can send an email to thenewhereshow@gmail.com. We're going to do things a little different today. If you go all the way back to episode 1, you'll remember me talking about how I'm dedicated to helping 100 women of color enter the learning and development field over the next 5 years. Specifically instructional and learning experience design. So don't get it twisted. The content I make is for everyone, but I put Black women first. I create content so women who look like me know they have career options that can open up entirely new worlds for them. So you can imagine my frustration when I have to stop focusing on that. And when I have to stop focusing on that to talk about police brutality. Specifically the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. But that's what Black people and other people of color often have to do. We have to stop what we're doing, even in the midst of a pandemic, to negotiate the worth of human life. But I'm done negotiating. Today's podcast is about how you will help me and other Black women, Black men, and Black children continue to thrive in this country, unbothered by the weight of police brutality, systemic racism, unconscious bias, or microaggressions. I know that there are some of you who don't check into current events, those who opt out of the news cycle, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, there have been 3 highly publicized killings of unarmed Black people in the last 3 months. I promised myself a long time ago that I was going to stop arguing with people about riots and rebellion because, honestly, American history is already on the side of rebellion. It just doesn't like when that rebellion is Black or brown. And can I pause here to say how frustrating it is for Black people to have to take to the street during a global pandemic to beg that someone just take a closer look at a case? But anyway, today I'm going to list how you can take actionable steps to help in the resources section of this podcast. And if you don't want to help, that's on you. Turn the podcast off. I will not argue with you. But first, I want to talk to you about Breonna, about George, and about Ahmaud. Breonna, Breonna. Breonna was a certified EMT. She had 2 jobs at hospitals in Louisville. Her mother, Tamika, said that Breonna was a young woman who adored her family above all else and who had made plans to succeed. She had a whole plan on becoming a nurse and buying a house and then starting a family. Breonna had her head on straight and she was a very decent person, her mom said. She didn't deserve this. She wasn't that type of person. Family members said that she was kind, hardworking, and honest. Breonna, 26, was killed on March 13th during a no-knock narcotics raid on her home. They fired several shots, striking her at least 8 times. The police were investigating 2 men who they believed were selling drugs out of a house that was far away from Miss Taylor's home. Ahmaud, Ahmaud. Before Ahmaud's name joined a litany of hashtags bearing other young Black men's names, he was a skinny kid whose dreams of an NFL career just didn't pan out. Those who knew him speak of a seemingly bottomless reservoir of kindness used to encourage others, of an easy smile and infectious laughter that could lighten just about any situation. Ahmaud had a talent for raising the spirits of the people around him. He was just ready to put himself in a position to be where he wanted in life, and that's what they took from him. You see, Ahmaud had been in trouble before, but he was ready to set things right again, and he was working every day to do that. He enjoyed jogging each day to clear his mind before going to work with his dad. On February 23, 2020, Ahmaud Arbery was fatally shot near Brunswick in Glynn County, Georgia, while jogging on Holmes Road. Ahmaud was pursued and confronted by two white residents who were armed and driving a pickup truck. On May 8th, which would have been Ahmaud's 26th birthday, thousands of supporters of Ahmaud's family took part in a run of 2.23 miles in honor of the date of his death and documented it on social media with the hashtag #IRunWithMaud. George, George. George moved to Minneapolis from his native Houston several years ago in hopes of finding work and starting a new life, said Christopher Harris, George's lifelong friend. He was looking to start over fresh, a new beginning, and he was happy with the change he was making. As a teen in Texas, he was a football star, many nicknamed Gentle Giant, but he lost his job as a bouncer at a restaurant when Minnesota's governor issued a stay-at-home order. George was 46. He grew up in Houston's 3rd Ward, one of the city's predominantly black neighborhoods, where he and Harris met in middle school. At 6'6", George emerged as a star football player, and he was positioned as the tight end for Jack Yates' high school team, and he even played in the 1992 state championship game in the Houston Astrodome. One of George's former classmates said he remembered watching George score touchdowns. George towered over everyone and earned the nickname Gentle Giant. It was said that he had a quiet personality, but a beautiful spirit. On May 25, 2020, George Floyd died in Powderhorn, a neighborhood south of downtown Minneapolis. While George was handcuffed and lying face down on a city street during an arrest, a police officer kept his knee on the right side of Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. 2 minutes and 53 seconds of which occurred after George became unresponsive. Here's that list of actionable things you can start doing today that I mentioned earlier in the episode. First, while well-intentioned, it's a really heavy burden to ask Black people to write out a step-by-step guide for how you should stop racism right now. I've seen some posts here and there from well-meaning folks who don't know what to do. Well, let me tell you, stop asking us and start Googling. It's there. It's free. And honestly, we've been screaming it at the top of our lungs for literally hundreds of years about what to do and not to do. It's not rocket science. But it is hard, and it will take time. And those are two things a lot of people aren't ready to put up with. Next, if you're looking for a way to put your instructional design skills to good use, consider joining Design for Humanity by Tommy Seelock. Tommy is the senior learning experience designer at Catalyte and came up with an opportunity for people with our skill set to do something about the current situation. If you want to learn more, check out his video. I'll drop the link in the show notes describing his view for the project, and then sign up at his Google form for more information. Tommy's hoping to bring together instructional designers who have some spare time to organize into Scrum teams and build free, high-quality learning experiences for K-12 students, geared particularly at these types of issues. Any and all donations will go to communities of color. I'll be helping out with this project. I'm really excited about it, mostly because I like seeing people put boots to the ground. If you want to know more, you're going to have to go to my show notes to find those links. Once you're there, you'll find a whole other host of resources, so you'll have to do a little less Googling. But again, don't ask any more Black people to find information for you. After this, go forth and Google yourself. And to the women of color, the Black women who listen to my podcast, I want to tell you that I'm holding space for you, especially those who are mothers. I feel for you so much during these times. I know too many mothers who are afraid for their children going out to protest, afraid of where their sons were going tonight, afraid of where their daughters would end up. And I just think it's so unfair that kind of fear has invaded our community for so long. My last 2 cents before wrapping things up. I think it's really important that people not be afraid to discuss race candidly. And some people think that they are not. They think, that's fine, I can discuss it. But when confrontation happens, they tend to shrink. And I get it. It's hard to have to defend things that you just believe. But the dismantling of systemic racism is too long of a process. And I'm hoping some of you will help speed it up. Because like you heard at the beginning of this, some of us are just tired of waiting. Where is the progress? It seems like every summer I'm back here in this same spot, trying to appeal to the sensibilities of a country that just doesn't seem to care about the boys or that look like my brother or the women that look like my mother. Let me tell you a story. Trayvon Martin shares the same birthday as my brother. And the verdict for George Zimmerman came down on my birthday. I remember sitting in a restaurant with my family trying to enjoy my dinner, looking up on the TV and seeing that he had gotten away with murder. I felt intrinsically tied to that case and every case from there out. And a part of my heart was chipped away each time. And it's getting harder and harder to put in my 2 cents because I just don't know what's left to say. So I want other people to speak up. And you guys have started, and I want to thank you. But that's not enough. It's just not enough. There will also be links to donate to George Floyd's Memorial Fund and to the Minneapolis Freedom Fund in my show notes. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening to I'm New Here. I am going to go ahead and post my regular scheduled podcast tomorrow for you on Tuesday, so you can still stay on track. Don't worry about it. It'll be up on your favorite podcast app first thing in the morning. If you like the show and want to know more, check out nylalxd.com/I'mNewHere. I have show notes for you there, also on LinkedIn. There will be links to everything I talked about in the episode and more. I am officially on Apple Podcasts and Overcast. There's no reason for you not to listen now. I'll also be on YouTube. I'm all over socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is NylaLXD, and I'm on LinkedIn too. Just search Nyla Spooner. One last thing, thanks to everyone who submitted questions so far. I've decided to put them all in one special monthly episode dedicated just to answering questions, so I have a little more time to get to them all. If you want your question included, go ahead and email thenewhereshow@gmail.com, and that episode will come out next week. All right, I'll see you then.